Throughout my life, I've had a lot of advantages. I think the earliest one that really comes to mind is back when I was just graduating college. I just finished my undergraduate degree, and I was looking for jobs. It was, I think we were in a time of recession, so I was just looking here, there, and everywhere to try to find something that would kind of fit with my background and my profile, and of course to make some money because I was broke as anything. And I had an opportunity to interview at a couple of different places, and I just remember coming away from those interviews feeling that I was, they kind of expected that I knew what I was doing, and they expected that I knew what I was talking about. Now, granted, I didn't, embellish my CV or anything like that, but there was this kind of taken for grantedness that I was going to be competent and I was going to be good at my job. So I was eventually hired, and my first couple of supervisors gave me a lot of opportunities. They kind of trusted that even though I may not know exactly how to do something, that I would figure it out as I went along. And of course I did exactly that, but not having gotten that chance, I never would have had the opportunity to learn on the job and to actually try to figure things out as I go. So I've reflected on this throughout my life. I've, kind of given it some thought as to, why did I get that opportunity? Why did my boss just expect me to figure it out and expect me to know and to learn as I was going through as I was going about my work? And I think what it a lot of times comes down to is how people view me. Now, I'm a confident person. I like to put myself out there and kind of like hold myself upright. But I think there's also something more to it than just that. It's also about kind of how people perceive me, how they see me, both like visually, but then also how they how they relate to me. And so when I've gotten that job, and even in subsequent periods of my life, when I've gotten other jobs and I've gotten other even academic opportunities, they often came with this default assumption that I would figure it out, that maybe I maybe didn't have all of the qualifications that was being asked of me, or that I didn't have all the competencies that I might have needed to enter a new position, but that it would be okay because they trusted that I would kind of figure it out. And as time has gone by, I've realized that's a form of preferential treatment. So I've been given the benefit of the doubt that things would work out, that I would figure it out, not because of what I've done, not because of my experience or my aptitudes or anything like that, but because of the way I presented myself and the way I present to other people. And so that's a really important thing for us to be aware of as we go about our daily life, because we always view other people in our lives through a certain lens, through a certain perspective. And we can view people in ways that are like, ooh, that person is different than I am, or they are the same as I am. And I think a lot of the times we view people who are the same as we are in a little bit more of a positive light. We kind of look at them and say, oh, they must have it figured out because I have it figured out. So we share those same commonalities and those same characteristics. And I think a lot of times those benefits that people can give each other are the result of that. Result of seeing people in that light, of the result of the perception that you bring to those interactions. Now, I know I'm getting really abstract here. What this really comes down to is that we have to be aware of those biases that are in our perceptions, the way we view other people and understand their abilities, their kind of expectations of who they are and what they can do, and really start to question that. So if we see someone who maybe doesn't share all of our characteristics in common, or maybe we just see somebody who's really from a different place than we are, then we can't view them as being an other. We have to view them as being a kind of clean slate so that we can understand a bit more about their abilities, about their knowledge, about their experience and expertise, so that we can assess what they are able and not able to do on a little bit more of a neutral ground, and not so loaded with our own perceptions and biases of what that person might or might not be able to do. And I've talked a lot about working and getting hired and things like that, and I think that's one of the critical junctures in everyone's life, is being hired in your first job, being hired in that first position out of college. It can really make the difference on your long-term trajectory of your career. And so me being advantaged by having the opportunity to kind of enter a career with the expectation that I would figure it out as I go along was formidable in how I progressed from there. If I was not afforded that kind of assumption that I would figure it out, then it would have impacted negatively my career. And there are absolutely people out there who are negatively impacted because of those default assumptions, because we see people and we say, oh, that person is like this group of people, and because of that, they should act, think, behave, know, have experience in these sorts of things. And so it's really, really, really critical, especially in hiring decisions, but certainly in all aspects of life, that we take that with a huge kind of huge opportunity for self-reflection, and for being able to look at that behavior, those entrenched kind of biases, and examine them and try to lift ourselves out of that, so that we're not looking at people from kind of a biased perspective, but we're really trying to understand truly who they are, what they can do on their terms, not simply on our terms or from our perspective. But if you're on the other side of that coin, if you're the one who is not given the default, if you're not one who's not given the kind of, oh, you'll figure it out on your job, then I think it's just a matter of doing everything that you can to kind of showcase what your competencies are, and not just expecting yourself to meet every competency, but being okay that maybe in a job application you might only hit 7 out of 10 or 5 out of 10 of the qualifications they're looking for. That's all right. It's still worth putting that application out there. It still helps you think about your experiences more critically, so that you can tailor those experiences to that job advertisement. And it's still a really critical opportunity for you to reflect on the ways in which you can kind of continue to develop yourself professionally, so that you can hit 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 of those job requirements. But I think it's really important that we don't just apply for jobs that we're 10 out of 10 qualified for, but we try to stretch ourselves, apply for those jobs that are 8 out of 10, and come into that interview confident and be ready to make an argument for, yes, I don't have all the qualifications that you're looking for, but I will figure it out.